Swayze's current diet is actually more conducive to peeing out calcium, than this raw vegan diet that she was on. Okay, Frugivore, here we are back on the channel called Unnatural Vegan, and Swayze is going to react to her first video when she ate a raw vegan diet. And I just scrolled along here to find where she was reacting to herself, and I'm going to react to her reacting to herself. So this should be fascinating, right? So let's check it out. Let's get straight into it.
Well, now I have to do this and it's going to be terrible. But, okay, here we go.
Wow. She seems so uncomfortable to start with, like embarrassed, right? Like she's like, oh, wow, look at her there.
Hi, this is Swayze with FitOnRaw.com.
Wow, she looks like a goddess. I'm not kidding. I'm like, wow, I'm blown away. First and foremost, like I'm just like I'm not going to lie, she looks gorgeous and healthy.
Raw foodists, whether you're new to raw foods or you've been on a raw food diet for years, really struggle with going on vacation and staying raw.
Oh my gosh, I sound so Southern. Going on vacation and staying raw.
I like that accent. I don't know why she doesn't, but yeah, it's funny.
Am I still that Southern? Oh gosh, I don't know. That's funny.
That was cute.
And since I just took a trip a couple days ago, in
oh my god, her accent is like so adorable.
Which I stayed 100% raw, I figured this would be a really good time.
I love the 100% raw. That's really, really important. God, I can't. This was so long ago. I mean, I kind of remember filming this video. I remember I held the camera. So that's actually me holding the camera. How the hell? I mean, for 7 minutes, how did I hold it that still? I think
because you're strong, because you had strength, you had the carbohydrates, not excess protein.
This was with the flip camera. I had one of those. How did I hold it? I mean, that's pretty good. I could not do that. Oh, my arm would get so tired.
Yeah, she's actually said that in another video that she couldn't hold the camera for that long because her arm would get too tired. Well, I mean, it says something, doesn't it? It says something about your strength.
Yeah, so that's amazing. But yeah, I kind of remember sitting in the backyard and doing this. But yeah, watching it, it's real. I don't know. It's really weird.
Why?
Time to
anyway,
offer some tips for traveling in the raw. So this video provides 4 different tips, my top 4 tips for staying 100% raw while traveling. All right, so number 1 is know your food. And by know your food, I mean know how much food you need in a day, know how many meals you eat, how much you usually eat per meal, and what your favorite fruits are. And that's really important because...
I mean, they're great tips. They are great tips.
How much you eat per meal? I mean, I don't know. I don't pay attention to that. It's so strange. I just eat when I'm hungry and I try to stop when like, okay, that's enough food. I'm pretty full now.
That's strange that she's answering in this way because she clearly said she was going away on a road trip. These were tips for a road trip. So no matter what you eat, most people do like think about how much food they're going to need. I know you can stop at the service station and just buy crap like protein bars, probably plant-based protein bars in America and stuff. But this is a special way of eating that, yields special results. And yes, you do have to like, of course, calculate roughly how much fruit you're going to need. But it's kind of like you have to do that with any food that, if you're going away on a trip, that's pretty normal. So I don't know why she's making that out to be like weird.
No, I don't really have like a set. I eat 600 calories per meal. I don't know. It's rather odd.
It's really not odd. It's really not odd. And see, part of the reason that she doesn't have this kind of awareness of how much she needs to eat, and that's part of the reason she's going to caffeine. She needs to drink drugs because she's not getting enough carbohydrates and probably calories in general. She'll probably, I would say she is restricting a lot, and then she probably has these binge outs like most people do. And that you can actually stop that happening when you have a more awareness about how many calories are in what you're eating. It is important. It's not strange. It's just being aware. It's being prepared, and it's very smart.
You have to do it though when you're eating. Okay, for those who don't know, I guess I should clarify. I was eating like a low fat, high fruit, raw vegan diet. So like an 80-10 style, 80-10-10 style type of thing. So predominantly fruit, some greens and stuff. This was before I got into eating more and more greens, because you have to, if you want to survive on this diet for as long as possible, you have to eat like lots of greens and stuff, because
no, you don't. I don't know why she's saying this either. Like, you don't have to just, I mean, pack it in like greens, like you have to eat ridiculous amounts of greens. That's just like, it's not true. And she's making it out to seem like, oh, you're going to get deficient. You're going to run into issues if you don't have heaps and heaps of greens on this diet. That's not true.
Fruit doesn't give you shit in terms of like calcium and iron and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, so she said fruit doesn't give you shit in the case of calcium and iron and all that stuff. So look, let's just speak quickly about the calcium factor, okay? Calcium is a mineral. It's a mineral that's found in the ground, okay? And then we eat it, we ingest it through plants that we eat. Calcium isn't an issue of dietary intake. So she's making you believe, it's kind of fear-mongering, thinking, oh, you're not going to get enough like calcium and iron if you eat a fruit-based diet, so you have to pack in heaps of greens. That's not true. So I recorded a big section about calcium and iron on this diet and on her diet and the comparison. So I want you to go and check that out towards the end of this video. I didn't want to put it in the middle here and kind of interrupt the flow of reacting to her video. So I'm going to put that towards the end, but make sure you hang around. It's really important information. Please do. You're going to feel so empowered and educated having this information.
Yeah, so I forgot where I was going with that, but yeah.
More fruit will help with your focus.
The point is you have to kind of know how much you need per meal, right?
It's just a calorie thing. So you eat enough food, you know, so you stay nourished on the lifestyle. And I mean, it's like you need to know as well how much you need, how much food you need. We all need to know. And if we don't, we just end up going and having caffeine like she is for energy instead of actual real food.
I mean, you really don't want to be eating, number one, you don't want to be eating like several meals a day, because then you have that sugar on your teeth all the time and the acid and stuff like that. And you're just going to be like,
okay. Fruit is great for your teeth. Okay, fruit is great for your teeth. A high protein diet, not so good. We talked about calcium being leached here and peeing it down the toilet. You don't want to be having caffeine, a high protein diet. You don't want to lacking in vitamin D. All of these things are going to cause more of an issue.
Pooping all the time, which you will anyway. I mean, look, when you're eating that much fruit and fiber, you're going to be shitting a lot.
She's so classy. Look, you actually aren't going to be pooping a lot. You know, you should be pooping after your meal, okay? If you have a large meal, then yeah, you should go. I mean, generally I will have 2 a day, and I'm having large fruit meals. 2 a day? Is that pooping all the time? See how she's exaggerating things? This is not true, and it's good. You don't want to be backed up. She's probably experienced constipation now, and she thinks that was abnormal to go to the toilet like twice a day to clean out. That's great. And I mean, they're fluffy and they're healthy if you're doing it right, but now she's probably got those dry torpedoes, you know?
So that's fun.
If you want to do the lifestyle, the Frugivore diet, the raw food diet properly, then check out Go Fruit Yourself. I go through all the mistakes I made before I got it right on this diet and lifestyle. And I've added like about another 27 or so recipes to the back of the book. And there's a lot of great information in here. And I just, I teach you how to do this properly. It's so important. You can see Swayze did not do it properly, fell off the wagon, and now she's blaming it for a whole lot of issues, and it's obviously not fair at all. It's a wonderful lifestyle, and I think you're going to love this book as well. Check it out. The link to the ebook is in the description below. Go Fruit Yourself, How I Lost 40 Pounds on a Raw Food Lifestyle and Regained My Health. And as always, I recommend Swayze reads her own book and refreshes her memory about how amazing this lifestyle is and all the science that she's included in here. I agree with probably 95% of what she's put in the book. There's definitely some issues, but it is very good for the most part. And if she would have sent me a copy back in 2000, whenever it was, 11, 13, maybe I would have promoted it at the time, but she did have that under-eating vibe, and that kind of concerned me. But anyway, check it out, The Science of Eating Raw.
A lot of people make the mistake of bringing along produce that's just easy to pack. So, bananas, oranges, things like that, even though those aren't their favorite foods and they don't really care for them. And if you do that, I can pretty much guarantee that you won't stay raw very long on your trip.
I don't know about that. I mean, it's good. It's definitely good to take a whole lot of bananas and staples like that. So I would disagree with that.
Because what's going to happen is you're going to get to your hotel room, you're going to be starving, and the only thing you're going to have are foods that you really don't want to eat.
Yeah, but you don't want to get to your hotel room and be starving. Obviously, you want to be eating in the car. You eat some bananas. It's really easy. It's easy as like undoing like opening a protein bar, right? Opening a banana, it's always going to be better.
And so it's going to be really easy to justify eating those cooked foods or whatever your vice is instead of the healthy raw foods.
Not the cooked foods, not the evil cooked foods. Oh, God forbid you have a fucking granola bar.
I like how she's just like belittling herself and belittling the lifestyle as well. It's like, obviously, she wanted to be raw, and the video was actually for people wanting to stay raw on a trip. And she's like, haha, God forbid, like, just being really like, it's very unfortunate, like her old self was obviously had higher standards, was trying to be healthy. She reversed her iron deficiency, and now she's just making light of it. Like, yeah, it's very
oh man.
Yeah, that's really sad. Like that she's like, oh man. But like if you look in her book, she talks about how she had all these health issues when she was eating the diet she is now. And she's just not being honest with us. She's not telling us all the health issues that she is experiencing. Likely is anemic, because she said she was anemic eating a standard vegan diet like she's eating now. So she's not being transparent with us, and she's just belittling herself unnecessarily.
So bring your favorite fruits along, even if it's something that you don't think will pack very well, like peaches or something. For instance, on this past trip, I brought some peaches along because they're one of my favorite fruits and they're available right now. They're in season. And so what I did, I just put them in a cardboard flat and packed them that way, and they were fine.
Easy.
They didn't get smushed or anything. So you can...
I mean, that's easy, right?
Smushed or anything. Can you imagine bringing a flat of peaches on a trip? Gosh, oh my God.
What is wrong with that? Like if you're with people who, don't like you bringing a flat of peaches, or you can't bring it, that's just strange. You got to look after your health no matter where you are.
I mean, I remember this. I do remember, I think I had a picture of me. We were in a restaurant, and I had my peaches. I was eating peach. I brought.
Great. So you can see how she doesn't like to stand out. She doesn't like to be different. And I am like the opposite. I'm happy being a fringe dweller. I'm like, I can live on the edge of society. I don't want to be, well adjusted to a sick society. I don't want to be accepted into a sick society. I want to actually lead that sick society to health. That's where Swayze and myself differ. She's just embarrassed about eating healthy and teaching others to eat healthy. I think that's really sad.
I brought peaches to a restaurant. I was eating peaches at a restaurant.
Yes. That's wonderful. I think that is wonderful. Good. Show people what actual healthy food looks like as they consume their unhealthy food.
Thank you, Kat. Thank you, Kat, for having some fun back there. I can hear the fun, and it's making me feel better. Yeah, I remember doing that. I remember bringing all this fruit. Like, what? Oh my God! It's so sad and weird, and so.
It's so sad and weird for a frugivore to bring sufficient calories for themselves. It's like it's just bigger in volume because of the fiber and the water. Like I don't know where she's coming from. It's very, very sad that she is like just painting herself as like crazy, her old self who was actually had higher standards and was healthier. Like I don't know.
Unnecessary. Oh gosh. Oh.
Bring any fruit.
Wow, she's very embarrassed. Very, very embarrassed. Swayze, stop caring what others think and put your health first like you used to.
If you like cantaloupe or pineapple, you can cut it up beforehand, put it in a container, yes. Or bring it whole and just bring a cutting board and a knife. Whatever. You can bring any fruit.
Yes, bring a cutting board and a knife.
Yes.
Oh my God.
What? Oh my God, that is not something that is so far out, right? When you go to picnics and stuff, you can take sort of food prep things. If you actually care about your health and you want to eat whole, fresh food rather than just stop at the servo and buy some processed 5-year-old protein bar, like this is what you do. It's not hard. It's so not hard. I've done it for years. It's really like strange how hard she's making it sound.
Oh gosh, I can't, It's so easy to travel as a vegan Like there's so many easy things. Just like if you need to bring some stuff with you, you know, like peanut butter.
Okay, so she's making it like this is a convenience thing. She's putting convenience before her health.
And bread and stuff. But a lot of times you don't even, I mean, it depends on what exactly you're doing. But if you're just flying a few hours somewhere, like you can pick up food there to eat. I mean, obviously it's a little bit harder as a vegan than if you just eat anything and everything, right? But it's so much easier. I mean, I guess that's one of the things coming from raw to then like a regular vegan diet. It's like, oh my God, it feels so freeing, right?
Freeing. It doesn't feel freeing to actually experience health issues like you said you were on a vegan diet. You were anemic. You had restless leg. You had heavy menstruation. All of these things, they don't feel good, do they? So you can see how it's like she's misrepresenting things here, not being fully transparent about how she actually felt and how she feels now on a normal vegan diet. Yeah, sure, having packet wartime food that is like dry and lasts for years, yeah, it's more convenient, but your health suffers. Okay, we are fresh, watery beings. We need fresh, watery food. It's just healthy, you know? So she's sacrificing fiber, water, health for convenience.
I mean, like by comparison, it reminds me of, I don't know why, I just saw this video of this girl living in a like 82 square feet or something apartment in Tokyo. And it's like so tiny. And then she had an update video where she moved to a bigger place that was like, I don't know, like 300 square feet or something. And she was just like, this is luxurious. This is amazing. And it was so adorable. Just, you know, I'm imagining myself living in a 300 square foot apartment and just wanting to kill everybody, right? But for her, it's like, this is amazing. So, because it's just, you know, relative to what she had. So for me, relative to being raw, it's like, oh my God, you know, it's like when I started eating cooked food.
But I mean, like, it's like, that is a poor comparison because obviously that individual had a healthier amount of room to move. It's not healthy for a human to just be like, they can't even stretch there. I know the video she's talking about, you know, to be cooped up in this dark, like tiny place, that's unhealthy. Okay. So she was going to a healthier, like, area, you know, amount of room where she could move more freely. But when you're going from eating the raw vegan like she was to cooked, she is lowering her standards and she is experiencing health issues as a result. She's already said that, like I said, the anemia, etc., etc. So, you know, you can see how it's not an improvement like she is trying to make that analogy.
Again, it's like, oh my gosh, the possibilities, right? Like, yeah, it's just so silly.
It is silly. I promise you. I probably wouldn't recommend durian, but pretty much anything else you can bring along. So don't be limited to just what travels well.
Like, she's very, like, rational. Her old self is making complete sense, but she's just trying to completely write herself off.
By the way, a bunch of bananas in a hot car for hours is not fun. That smells disgusting. Or even, like, melon. Like, I have actually...
Look... I mean, like, these problems are not problems. It's like, just don't let it get too hot. Don't have it in the sun. It's easy to do, right? You know, don't take bananas that are, like, overly ripe. Like, these are things that aren't actually a problem that she's making out are a problem. Like, just really, really nitpicking.
I'm pretty sure, yeah, I remember bringing melon on a trip. And after a while, that smell in the car, that just fragrant, fruity smell, it's not pleasant, particularly if you are prone.
What? Melon is beautiful. What? Melon's beautiful. I don't know.
Into motion sickness like I am, it's not fun.
Motion sickness.
Okay, and that brings me to number 2, which is bring food for at least 2 days. And the reason you want to do that is because you want to be prepared for those first 2 days. Again, you don't want to show up to your hotel room with nothing to eat and, oh gosh, what's the next best thing? You know, something cooked, something unhealthy. You want to be prepared. You want to have...
God, it's killing me. Something cooked, something unhealthy. Mm-hmm. Wow, that's just, oh man, it's just so crazy. It's so limiting. And I mean, eventually I did.
I mean, look, so the video she's reacting to is her trying to help other raw fooders or people trying to be raw to stay raw. So, of course, she's going to be giving the recommendations that she's giving, okay? So she wants you to avoid the cooked food because this is for people who want to be raw and want to go to the next level. So I don't know what's so funny about that.
Learn that was wrong. It took me a little while. It was like, you know, okay, well, maybe some cooked foods are like, okay, you know, and then just, I don't know, just learning basic stuff?
Sure. There are, like I say, they're good, better, best options. I wouldn't say that all cooked food is unhealthy. Okay. That is like a blanket statement, and that's not necessarily true. Okay. Obviously, people can survive long term eating some cooked food in their diet. But if you really want to go the next level, go to your species specific diet, then that does not include cooked food. And some of you are going to have health challenges as a result of including that cooked food. But there's always better options. Like when you're going to cook some carbs, cook bananas, like plantains, rather than cooking pasta. Cook bananas, then the next would be sweet potatoes, and it would be like white potato, then rice, then pasta. Goes down that kind of scale, So there's good, better, best options.
Like there are benefits to cooking foods, like they break down, oligosaccharides and all of these other things.
No, but that's only if it is a non-human food, okay? Non-human food, sure, it kind of is like a pre-digestive process by cooking. Yeah, but we're not actually designed to eat the cooked food in the first place. So it's doing something that, we should be able to do naturally to the food, but we can't because we're not birds, for instance, with grains. We don't look anything like a bird, so these processes that improve the cooked food, it's only because we're not actually designed to eat it in the first place. We are not birdies.
Things, and they help us to eat, healthy foods like beans and whatnot.
Look, eat beans raw, okay? Then you will know how healthy they are. There's a lot out there about beans. You got to eat beans. No, okay? No, you don't. And some of them are toxic, and can you eat them raw? Generally not. Maybe there's some that you can eat raw or sprouted, but look, it's not a human food either. Eat your beans if you want, eat cooked beans, but don't be under this false, idea that they're healthy and that you need them and stuff like that. It's another food that needs to be cooked in order for the human frugivore to eat it because it's a non-human food.
So then slowly but surely it was like, okay, well, a mostly raw diet is fine, right? A high raw diet is fine. And then eventually it was like, okay, this is just stupid. I need to stop now. And part of it,
it's not stupid. It's just that you were dropping your standards. And I dropped my standards as well, from being all raw till 4. But when I say drop my standard, I'm not saying that raw till 4 is a bad diet or anything. No way. But I do see it as the backup plan to your species specific optimal diet. Okay. I'll still support you in eating that way for sure. I did it for years and it is healthy. But if you want to take your health to the next level, then all raw is fantastic. Frugivore diet.
Honestly, cost is what kind of pushed me over the edge. I think I have a video talking about that, but it just became, because once I started really understanding that this was unnecessary and that like a mostly raw diet was fine, then it was really hard to justify the cost of.
Okay, so she's trying to say that it was a cost, all right, but I don't believe that. Okay, I don't believe that. She dropped her standards and now she's just justifying it. Okay, because if you have a look, she is buying so much processed, expensive, privileged plant-based foods, that have been processed far beyond like their whole food, grains, rice, beans, whatever, these fake meats and stuff like that. She's justifying purchasing those ones, which are very expensive compared to fruits and veggies. Yes, sometimes it can be expensive, but you have to look at your health improvement as well. You save a lot of money on like doctor's visits, and like medications and stuff like that. She's buying these caffeine, tablets and coffee and also protein powders and a lot of processed foods, which adds up. Okay, this isn't a cost thing. She dropped her standards, pretty obvious.
Of eating a fully raw diet, because going from fully raw to mostly raw, oh my gosh, it's infinitely more doable and less expensive.
It's more doable. Okay, for sure. It is. And that's why, raw till 4 could be the plan for some of you for the rest of your life. And that's fantastic. Okay, you can be healthy. You can be very healthy eating that way. Yes. But like if you want to go the next level, that's why I say the frugivore diet is where it's at. But she's saying it's infinitely cheaper, but I definitely don't agree with that. You end up going to restaurants and stuff. She goes to restaurants often. It costs a lot. And when you're doing raw, you just can't go down to the restaurant and have a Thai feast. You can't do that. Or you can't have the fries and burger like she was having at that restaurant that she said she was going to often, and that costs a lot of money. So you can see there's problems here, discrepancies.
have those 2 days completely covered so that when you get to your destination, you can go ahead and go shopping or do whatever. Now, for me...
Because that's what you want to do when you're going on vacation. You want to spend half your time shopping and going to grocery stores, right?
Your health matters, Swayze. Your health matters. You do what it takes, to be healthiest, because then when you're on vacation, you feel fantastic. You don't feel like death. You know what I mean? I've been on vacation with people before who felt horrible because of their diet, because they are eating processed like her. You know what I mean? Like, I want to feel fantastic. I want to do what it takes to feel fantastic on my trip. So I actually have an enjoyable holiday, not like feel like hell. What?
Just doing the same shit that you do at home. Yeah, that sounds super fun.
Okay, so I'm going to stop it here.
If you want to survive on this diet for as long as possible, you have to eat like lots of greens and stuff, because fruit doesn't give you shit in terms of like calcium and iron and all that kind of stuff.
No, you do not need to intake heaps of calcium from greens in order to thrive on this lifestyle. Yes, I recommend greens, as I always say. Yes, but you don't have to just be really uncomfortable and just, pushing in a lot of greens just to meet chronometers, RDI, which is inflated. All right. The the dairy industry has inflated the calcium RDIs, okay, with lobbying, corruption, just like with the protein intake, it is inflated. With the EFAs, it's inflated, all right? So it's a lot of fear mongering by the dairy industry to sell us their crap. All right. And we are fighting back. We are not buying that crap, obviously. We want to be kind to animals. And on this lifestyle, it is the kindest, way to live, basically. But it's incredibly easy to get enough calcium. It's not an issue. It's about retaining the calcium. And I just want to talk about here how Swayze's current diet is actually more conducive to peeing out calcium, than this raw vegan diet that she was on. Number one thing she's doing now that she wasn't doing then, she's having caffeine, and caffeine interferes with calcium absorption. It's been shown to increase bone loss in older women. And high protein intake, okay, that's something that she wasn't doing then on this raw vegan diet, she's doing now. High protein intake can cause the kidneys to excrete large amounts of calcium out of the body. So studies have shown that protein levels 15% of daily calories or more will cause more calcium to be lost from the body than can be absorbed from the gut, even when consuming very high levels of calcium. So if she's even having calcium supplements, it doesn't matter because she's got this high protein intake. She didn't on the raw vegan diet. So this is an issue about retaining the calcium. Okay, not this, inflated dairy industry, inflated dietary intake. Okay, next one is sunshine. In all these previous videos, she has more of an outdoor lifestyle. She is, generally getting more sun. And on this lifestyle, it's obvious she's not getting enough sun. Sufficient vitamin D from sunshine is critical for calcium absorption. This is another compromise she's making with her diet and lifestyle right now. And if you take calcium supplements, which I believe she might, or she might take a multi that contains some calcium, and they can actually inhibit your iron uptake. And we know that Swayze has an issue with iron. So this is not looking good, right? Another thing, she has high levels of sodium in her diet, which is another mineral, and it can interfere with calcium uptake. So you can see she was following a diet that was very good in retaining the calcium. Okay, and now this diet that she's following now is basically helping excrete the calcium. And another issue also is the amount of phosphorus in the diet. So too much phosphorus in the diet from particularly animal bits and pieces, but also grains, nuts, nut butters, for instance, which we know she loves to eat, and her diet is based on grains, can affect your body's ability to use and retain other minerals, such as iron and calcium. So she has a lot of crosses against her diet and lifestyle at this point. Okay, a lot of crosses when it comes to calcium retention. So she could potentially be peeing a lot of calcium down the toilet with her current diet and lifestyle. And when it comes to iron, we have to go to iron for a moment. Here's a little study. Excess dietary protein can adversely affect bone. So, and also fruits and veggies can help because of their alkaline-rich nature. So the average American diet, which is high in protein and low in fruits and veggies, generates a large amount of acid, mainly as sulfates and phosphates. Okay, so, and you can get this even on a plant-based diet. Alkali buffers, whether chemical salts or dietary fruits and veggies high in potassium, reverse acid-induced urinary calcium loss. So let's just quickly go to my post here on the Frugivore diet at Instagram. If you're not following me, go and follow me there. I just put up this post about iron. She did say about iron just then, okay? We need to quickly talk about this. I know this is lengthy, but it's important. So you know the truth and you don't give in to the fear-mongering, okay? So I put up this post here. Where do you get your iron on the Frugivore diet? Okay, the Frugivore diet decreases monthly moon cycle blood loss. Your menstruation is decreased on the Frugivore diet, which is good, okay? A light menstruation is healthy and natural. A heavy one is not. So, which means less iron leaves the female Frugivore body. And remember, Swayze actually reversed her anemia. She was anemic before, okay? So she reversed her iron deficiency on a raw vegan diet. She even wrote it in a book. So this is part of the reason. You retain more iron. You lose less. Take a moment to pause the video and read this page from Swayze's book. It's really important information and it is accurate, and this is how it was for her on the diet. Vitamin C, packed fruits that can enhance iron absorption by 68% or more from the meal. So you're eating these foods, you're eating high vitamin C content whole foods, which help with the iron absorption. That's what she was on the raw vegan diet too. But she's not having much of that at all now. The Frugivore diet creates a healthy gut. So fresh fruits have been scientifically proven to contain millions of beneficial bacteria, which create a healthy gut microbiome and enhance absorption of iron. And see, the Frugivore diet doesn't contain these iron inhibitors like chocolate, like cacao, and caffeine, red wine, dairy, eggs, grains, even nuts, nut butters. It doesn't contain much nuts, that's for sure. You know, it's a small amount and it's not a problem like that. But, you know, her diet is containing quite a whack of these. Frugivore diet doesn't contain cooked foods that lack vitamin C. So cooking the food depends on the cooking method, but you will lose a lot of vitamin C because it's a heat-sensitive vitamin. This is important in the absorption of iron. And the Frugivore diet doesn't contain any dangerous amounts of heme iron from animals. And yeah, that's right. And also B12. That's an important one when it comes to iron because in the formation of hemoglobin, it's important that your B12 levels are optimal and you're supplementing like I recommend. All right, so that was important. I just needed to get through that. Another thing on the calcium, a 12-year-long Harvard nurses' health study found that those who consume the most calcium from dairy foods broke more bones than those who rarely drank milk. You know, this is a broad study based on 77,761 women aged between 34 and 59 years of age. A 12-year-long study. It's not about the dietary intake. It's about retaining it. It's very easy. And like I've seen over the past 14 years, I've seen a number of raw foodists blood tests. I've never once seen a calcium deficiency on the blood test. And you've seen mine too, just recently. No calcium deficiency, fruit-based for 14 years. This is not an issue. This is fear-mongering, and she should, educate herself properly unless she is deliberately trying to fear-monger, which is very, very possible. But yeah. So you don't have to worry, just get enough vitamin D from the sunshine, just eat enough calories, fruits and greens, yes, but don't worry about stuffing them in. Seriously, it's easy. You can see what is going on here. It's a convenience thing. She claims it's about money. It's about convenience. She dropped her standards. Maybe it has to do with her partner as well. She didn't eat enough to stay on the lifestyle. She blamed it for making her fat. She didn't get through that period of recovery for her metabolism. She just dropped the lifestyle and then went to calorie restriction on a high protein plant-based diet. And it's not working for her. It's not working for her. Obviously, she's addicted to caffeine. She has to take supplements. She always seems to be low in energy. It's not working. But of course, it's human nature to justify what you do in this moment, right? So she's justifying her lower standards now, and she's belittling herself when her former self actually had good ideas and more of a clue than she does now. And that's really sad because we know that she suffered from a lot of health issues eating like she does now, but she's not being fully transparent about that. And I would love to see a blood test. Again, Swayze, where is your blood test? Even in your book, you recommend regular blood tests. And I don't see anything wrong with getting a blood test here and there because I've never seen one on your channel. in over a decade. That's crazy, right? And I think we should have a look at that, because I've put mine up and she is critiquing raw vegans and myself all the time, in the past especially. So it's only fair, I put my blood test up. I'm like, here's my blood test. But we still don't have one from Swayze. So you can see what's happening here. I spoke about the calcium and the iron. She actually has an iron inhibiting diet in a lot of ways. And like she said before, she was iron deficient. She's also potentially peeing like a lot of calcium out from her diet because it has a caffeine. It's high in protein. She doesn't get enough vitamin D from the sun. She's taking probably calcium supplements. She has high levels of sodium in her diet. All these issues are going to point towards the calcium leaving the body, and that's not good. The kidneys, basically filtering and peeing it out. We want to retain that calcium. That is the most important. And that's why you don't see any, dietary calcium intake issues like from raw vegans, fruit-based diet, eat enough calories from whole fruits and greens and you'll be fine. And you don't have to smash in the greens or anything like that. You really need to take it with a grain of salt, these chronometer recommendations, because they are corrupt. The industry is fully involved. Lobbying, it's a big thing. Just remember that, please. So yeah, that was disappointing. That was disappointing, but it really gives us an insight into how uncomfortable she felt, embarrassed, how she cared so much about what other people think more than her actual health. And be a fringe dweller, mate. Swayze, who cares? Who cares what other people think? Be different in this world, because there's so many sick individuals who need our help. We don't want to be one of them. We don't want to be relatable to them. We want to be inspiration for them. All right. Don't be like Swayze and forget to fruit yourself today. Go fruit yourself, and I'll talk to you soon.